Beneath the water, a tale of enticement, greed, and lust. In the village of Tafari, there is a beautiful river, calm, serene, and inviting. The people drink from it, bathe in it, and fish from its shores. But no one dares swim in its depths. The elders say it is cursed, that crocodiles hide in its shadows waiting. But one arrogant young fisherman, Juma, laughs at these warnings. He believes himself too clever, too skilled to be afraid of unseen dangers. One day, he ventures deeper into the river, convinced that the tales of crocodiles are just superstition. But what he finds lurking beneath is far worse than any beast he could imagine. In the village of Tafari, where the river ran wide and clear, the people lived in peace. They fished along its shores. They drank from its waters. But never did they swim too far. Even the experienced fishermen and those with boats did not venture out past a certain point, and they always kept the shoreline in sight. For beneath the calm waters, they said, the crocodiles waited. Juma, a bold young fisherman, is both proud and stubborn. Juma mocks and laughs at the warnings of the elders. They say, "Son, never go out into the deep. This river holds many mysteries, and there are many crocodiles out there." Juma replies, "Where are these crocodiles you fear so much? I see no teeth, no danger, only old stories meant to scare children. If there are crocodiles, why have I never seen one? If danger waits in the water, why is it always so still?" Juma comes home one evening complaining that he has caught little in the river that day, and that the elders are too cautious. They're too timid in not letting him go out into the deep. Maybe in their day the river was violent, but now it is so still, so calm. The elders warned of spirits, crocodiles, that were not of flesh, but of shadow. They said the river itself was alive, watching, waiting, a hungry thing that swallowed the foolish whole. Juma's mother warns him, "Juma, the river smiles at fools. Just because you do not see the teeth does not mean they are not there. Mom, you know I'm an expert fisherman. I can handle my boat, and I'm a very strong swimmer. I need to catch more fish." Juma scoffs. He believes in what he can see, and to him, the river is calm, so it must be safe. But water may be still, and yet hide terror and death beneath its surface. Early one morning, as the mist kissed the river's surface, Juma stood alone at the shore. He cast his net, but something pulled it down, something strong. Juma fights the unknown. His net is dragged beneath the water. He went from knee-high in the water to waist-high as it dragged him, even though he was trying to hold his ground. Juma was strong, and he knew it. When he pulls it up, it has one fish. Based on the fight he had with whatever was in his net, it wasn't just this one fish. There had to be more and bigger to put up a fight like that. Greed overcomes him. Oh, he smirks. "And they say danger lurks here? The river is giving me fortune, not death." He cast his net out again and waited, but nothing. No tug, no movement, nothing. He brought it back up. Nothing. Juma wondered if he was going to waste another day by the shore, and in the shallow water, being safe and cautious to please the elders and his mother, and still, catching nothing. It either had been overfished or the fish had gotten wise to what happens in this part of the river. But he did have one fish already. It was a nice size, but he knew there was more, and there was bigger. Juma looked over at his lonely boat. Maybe if he just went a little ways out, he could catch something this morning, and then be free in the afternoon to do as he pleases. Oh, he decides to get in his small boat, If there is one fish, there would be many, and he must find them and catch them. Juma is thinking not only of the dinner he could bring home for his family tonight, but he can take the rest to the market and make money with a good catch. So he decides to venture deeper into the water, convinced that richer rewards lie ahead. But the river was only waiting, and deep below, something was watching. He rowed his boat out what seemed to be a short distance, but soon Juma found that he had lost sight of the shore. Well, he's out here now, might as well fish. Was the sun this hot? On either side of him were two beautiful maidens. No, they were mermaids, and they were enticing him and calling for him and saying that it would be fun to get together with him. But Juma was focused. He wanted to feed his family, and he wanted to get the fishing over with before the sun reached its peak in the sky and burned him. He laughingly yelled to them, whether they were a mirage or an illusion or not. I'm married. I'm happily married, so no thanks. Bye. They continued to call to him as he kept rowing away. Then he stopped for a moment and lied to them, saying, If you can help me fish and get a good catch today, we can talk. They continued laughing as Juma rowed on, further away from them and into the deep. The deep where he had been warned not to go. He got to a quiet spot and cast out his nets. He caught one fish, a big fish. The fish coughed up a coin, a gold coin. This was biblical. How did that happen? Juma weighed the fish in one hand and the coin in the other. He felt like he'd rather take the coin than the fish. If that fish was smart, he would know how to go and get another coin. So, Juma, already delirious because of the hot sun, talked to the fish and told it to go get another coin. He said, You have some other fish friends, right? They know how to get gold coins. Go get them, and all of you bring me some coins. See, I'm releasing you. Tell your friends I will release them all back into the water, but just bring me the coins. Then, Juma released the biggest fish he had ever caught back into the waiting river. Juma waited a few minutes, then lowered his net again, and after some time, he pulled up his net. His breath caught in his throat. In his net was a bevy of fish, all with gold coins in their mouths. Some had as many as 4 coins in their mouths. Was this a dream? If it was, he liked it. Juma got the coins and put all the fish back in the water and said, Go get some more. Who would believe this? Who could he tell? Who would he tell? Juma looked around. There was no one around, no one. He was truly out in the deep. Next thing he knows, there were 2 other mermaids, and one was trying to get in the boat. You said if we helped you? Oh, you did that, those amazing fish? Yes, and there's more. You're not the same 2 I saw before. How many of you are there? Some. A few. Many. Juma got conflicting answers, but then decided to say, Well, let me keep fishing. I don't have time to talk with you all now. Maybe when all this fishing is over. But right now, I have to keep fishing. The 2 mermaids jumped in the water and splashed away. They weren't too happy since they had helped him, but he didn't keep his end of the deal. Juma pulled up his net again, and it contained more fish came with more coins. After gathering a lot of gold, Juma had an idea. Juma felt very clever today, and he had discovered something that no one else knew about. Else, everybody would be out there. He began rowing out even further, figuring that the fish get bigger the further out you go. Juma let down his net, and in a very short time, he felt that it was heavy with fish. When he pulled it out of the water, though, he only had 1 fish. Just 1 fish? Again? We're back to that? He brought the nets into the boat. The sun glistened off of his catch. Inside the net, Tangled in the ropes lay a huge golden fish, its scales shimmering like the sun. Juma holds up the fish, his eyes gleaming with greed. "See," he yelled to the top of his voice, "this river does not bring death, it brings fortune." Juma was so loud that he heard his echo, but no one else was anywhere around to hear him. Yes, he thought, this is his secret, and he will keep it as his own secret fishing spot. This fish of gold was made of pure gold, and each scale was a piece of gold. This could make him the wealthiest man in the village, no, in the country, no, in the world. It is at that moment that Juma realized that this golden fish had diamonds for eyes. He looked into the clear water and saw more golden fish, not goldfish, but golden fish. But they didn't sink. Why not? They were magic. The sirens had found new rocks to perch on and yelled to Juma, "Go a little deeper, there are plenty of those out there. Go further, you'll see them." Why were they always smiling and happy and laughing, Juma wondered to himself. Well, they couldn't be happier than he is. What an amazing day, and a bountiful catch he had today. This made up for everything. And so, blind to the warnings of the elders and his mother, deaf to the whispers in the wind, and filled with greed, Juma rode deeper into the river's embrace. The deeper he rode, the quieter the world became. The birds no longer sang. The wind no longer whispered through the reeds. Even the river seemed to hold its breath. Juma couldn't believe how quiet it was out here. He stopped and leaned back in his boat to rest from rowing and daydream about all the coins, the gold, the fish that he would bring in at the end of this day. He was devising a way to hide the gold, but show everyone the big fish that he had caught. Then he remembered he had released all the fish back, except the first one, so he'd have to fish some more and get some big fish and bring those home to show everyone. Then he thought he must stay out until dark or nearly dark, so no one would see the load of gold that he'd be bringing ashore. He was so involved in thoughts and daydreams, he never heard the low, guttural rumble beneath the water. Neither did he sense the weight of the huge crocodile that had begun to climb into his boat. Juma was not enticed by the mermaids and their offerings. The big fish he threw back, but the coins enchanted him. He was mesmerized by the gold and his dreams of being a very rich man. The water swells as if it just inhaled. We hear a hushed, echoing chant, that of distant, ghostly voices. Juma thought it was just the weight of the gold on the boat, and thought for a moment that he must stop getting coins because the boat was getting too heavy. The huge crocodile somehow caught itself in the nets at the back of the boat and began to thrash. Confused and entangled, it slid off the back of the boat, taking a chunk of the boat with him. The giant croc then slid back into the water and continued to struggle to get out of Juma's net. In so doing, it had accidentally flung itself against a big underwater boulder, like the kind those mermaids sit on. Seems out here, the river was riddled with them. After knocking itself unconscious, the big crocodile was then pierced through by a spear harpoon in its soft underbelly. That weapon was randomly left there, by either being dragged there by the undercurrent, or left there from a previous shipwreck that was just below Juma's boat. That dead crocodile was the daddy crocodile, and suddenly it was dead. Blood started to fill the water. The other crocs rushed to that blood. When the smaller crocs saw what had happened to their leader, they became enraged and swam right up to Juma's small boat. They were angry and in attack mode. Something moved beneath him. Something huge. Finally, Juma snapped out of daydream mode and back to reality. He saw a bunch of crocodiles surrounding his little boat, and that's when he realized how little his boat was out in this huge open river. Juma's heart pounded. He turned to look back toward the shore. What shore? He had completely lost his bearings and landmarks. There was no land, from what he could tell. That's when he saw that the back end of his boat was ripped, and soon he would be taking on water. Juma was a good swimmer, but outswim a crocodile? Outswim a bunch of crocodiles? He became frantic. What about his gold? Juma is smart, so he desperately starts looking around for a way out of this. Even if the boat sinks, he can come back tomorrow in a borrowed boat and retrieve his treasure. Now all he had to do was to save his life so he would have a tomorrow. Juma looked around again. The river now seems to stretch endlessly in all directions. No trees, no village, just water, endless water, and an eerie haze that seemed to mask any hope of seeing a shoreline or calling out for help. Juma panicked. This is not real. And then, the river spirit spoke. You have stepped where you should not tread. You are a murderer, and you have our gold. The water shifts. Something rises. Its eyes burn like fire. This is flesh and blood. This is not spirit. This is real. More crocodiles rise with it. A crocodile. Many crocodiles. But the big one is the mother crocodile to all these small ones surrounding him. She flings herself onto Juma's boat and wrecks it. Juma is flung out of it into the cool river water. Juma tried to get away, but there was no escape back to the shore. There was no shore, no land, only the crocodiles, their mouths wide, their teeth like ivory daggers. The river spirits encircle him and whisper, "Did you think the river was empty? Did you think danger had no shape? Did you think the river was yours? We've been here for thousands of years. This is our river. Ours. Please, I did not know. I meant no harm. I can put it all back. Wait, murderer? I didn't murder anybody. I put all the fish back." He hesitates. Well, except one. "I didn't murder anyone," he repeats. "I can put all the gold back. All of it. I can leave, and I promise never to come and disturb you again." Juma knew he was lying. He had already planned to come back for his shipwrecked boat that hadn't even sunk yet. This was all providing that he got out of this right now. The spirits did not blink. The water began to pull him down. This one never stops talking. Juma's screams are swallowed by the water. He struggles to come back up, but is caught in a strong undercurrent. There was a very loud splash and then silence as Juma is completely taken under. The crocs are satisfied and swim away. The river becomes calm again, as if nothing ever happened at that spot. By morning, the river had returned to perfect stillness, but Juma was gone. The villagers searched, those who would go out some distance, but not too far. Searched for Juma the whole day, until darkness covered the river again. But his body was not found. A part of his boat washed ashore, but no other parts of the wreckage were ever found. Even though it was so close they could almost see it through the clear water, and so close they could almost touch it. If they'd just gone out a little distance further, but no one would venture out that far again. From that day forward, no one questioned the river's silence. No one mocked the elders, and no one ventured past the shallow waters. The river still watches. It allows the people to use the shallow end, but the deep is not for them. The deep is for the river spirits, the mermaids, the crocodiles, the fish with gold, and the golden fish. The river watches. It guards the treasures of the deep. On the shore, every morning, Juma's mother comes out to look for him. Every evening, Juma's wife comes out to look for him. They go back disappointed each time. Their grief is heavy. Just because the water is calm does not mean there are no crocodiles. The moral: danger is not always loud. The wisest ones hear and learn. Those who must always experience to learn may not endure the experience. Do not mistake stillness for safety. That which is alive must eat. Thank you for tuning in to Africa Untold Tales. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to keep the stories coming.